Hi, how's everybody? Dean Willette, thank you very much. Thanks to all of you. Let me just pick up on what she was saying while we're standing here and waiting before I begin my official remarks. They gave me a minute backstage to speak with the graduates. And I said something to them that I want to say to all of you. This is not in my official presentation. But what the dean was saying was absolutely right. Thank you. And that is that there is no way I would have achieved what I have achieved and what she just listed there without my Albany Law School education and degree. And there is no limit to what you can achieve with the degree you just obtained. Everything I've accomplished on television, everything I've accomplished in my professional life started right here. Not at Syracuse, not even in the actual practice of law, right here in my 3 years doing what you just did. You have no idea how talented you've just become. And that's what I want to go through with you today. So now I got my remarks. I'm ready. Anyway, it is an honor to be here, and I thank the dean and I thank the faculty for having me. It's very fun to see some of my old professors like Professor Hutter. So great to see you. And thank you, graduates, for including me here today. I am truly honored to have been selected to speak to you on such a special day, and I could not be happier for all of you. Albany Law School, here at the Saratoga Performing Arts Center, which is amazing. The first time I ever came here was 1986. I was living here. I was a sophomore in high school. The group on stage was Huey Lewis and the News, right? Yes, I had hair suspiciously resembling a mullet. It was also permed. And I rocked out to Huey, who was singing "Working for a Living," which also happens to be my core message to you. Do that. It'll work out okay. So congrats on a spectacular day. I don't actually know most of you, but I feel like I do. I know firsthand what it takes to graduate from law school, and the fact that you have now done so says a lot about you. In fact, I think it's a testament to some stellar qualities that will help you greatly in your law practice and in your lives. Qualities like grit. You don't make it through the first year of contracts and property procedure and con law without understanding how to grind it out, and you will need that when you leave here. Since I graduated from law school 21 years ago, I've been amazed to see how so many are not inclined. They're not inclined to do the hard work it takes to succeed. You gotta work. You gotta work. When I was at Jones Day, right? Great firm. I once went to a junior associate and I said, I have great news for you. Congratulations, we're gonna bring you in on this great case. One of the most talented partners is lead counsel on it. You're gonna learn a ton. In response to which he said, I'd love to help you out right now, but I'm kind of in a happy place with respect to my workload, so I'm gonna have to pass. Your happy place? I'm about to wreck your happy place. Especially when you are young, you are trying to learn, you are trying to prove yourself. My advice to you is to say yes to everything. No job is beneath you. No reasonable job. Your job is to make other people's jobs easier when you're coming up the ranks. Now, once you've established yourself and you've built up some goodwill, you'll have more power to make good life choices. But young lawyers work hard. At least the good ones do. It's a privilege. It's a compliment. And it's a chance for you to grow. You also must be fairly competitive people to get to where you are today. So you've got a leg up in life already. Competition feels like a dirty word in some circles today, right? You know how it is, like everyone wins and everyone gets a trophy, everyone makes the team, and everyone plays even if they stink. This makes some sense at the grade school level when we're trying not to crush their little spirits, but in real life, come on. I remember my second year here at Albany. My buddy and I made it to the finals of Gabrielli. We were so excited. The night before, we had dinner with the 3 judges from the Court of Appeals who would be judging us the next night. And it was thrilling. And my partner said to the judges, I feel like we've already won, just being here. In response to which Judge Titone, who was on the court at that point, looked at him and said, son, second place is losing. The truth is that life is a competitive sport, and so is lawyering. And you've got to be okay throwing and sometimes receiving a sharp elbow every once in a while if you're going to get ahead. It means understanding your adversary, but even more than that, it means understanding yourself. In college, I went to Syracuse, which was good, but it was no Albany. I dated the captain of the lacrosse team there that won 3 national championships in a row. And he told me you could always tell which team was going to win the game even before the whistle ever blew. How? He said, well, you watch the teams. One of the teams will be warming up, running plays, practicing drills, and the other team will be looking at that team. Too much time spent watching the up-and-comers or down-the-haulers is energy you have wasted. It's energy you could have been putting back into yourself. Every time you find yourself starting to focus on your fellow associates and what assignments they are getting and you are not, you remind yourself of how damaging that is to you. Years ago, I felt very unfulfilled. I looked around me and I began to feel envy of this one or that one, and envy is a destructive force. And then one day, I heard a brilliant man by the name of Dr. Phil on the Oprah Winfrey Show say, the only difference between you and someone you envy is you settled for less. And I resolved in that moment to settle for more, which, by the way, is the title of my new book coming out in the fall. You should buy it, because actually I have a lot in there about Albany Law School and what a profound difference it made in my life, and I mean that. And you'll see that in the pages there. All of that energy that you feel worrying about someone else and what they are doing, either in your professional or your personal life, you channel that back into yourself. Channel it all back into yourself. I never lined up outside of my boss's office, whether I was an associate at the law firms or in television, asking for opportunity. I stayed in my own office and busted my tail, and opportunity came to me. What can you do better? That's the question. How can you get better? If you're not on the partner's radar, you get yourself on there. Don't succeed by hoping others fail. Work harder. Do better. Settle for more. That's how you win. The fact that you're sitting here today shows 2 other things about all of you. You are resilient, and you clearly have a sense of humor. And it's those 2 qualities I most want to reinforce to you this morning. I learned these personally from a very early age, mostly from my mother. To really understand how this happened, you need to know a little bit more about Linda, my mom, who raised me here in Albany, who worked for 20 years at the Albany VA on New Scotland Avenue, right across from the law school, and who, along with my dear stepfather Peter, who's actually here with us today, still live in Albany and gave me so many great gifts. My mother's always had a larger-than-life personality. She's the kind of person who lights up a room. You know the kind, when they walk out, the room's a little darker. My mom, you might not be shocked to learn, is no wallflower. Her physical therapist recently told her, whenever I see Megyn on TV, I think, wow, her mom is my patient. And my mom said to him, and you must always think exactly that. Whenever you see Megyn, you think of her exciting and amazing mother. Now, Linda does not have much of a filter, which can be a blessing and a curse. If I screw something up, she's not afraid to tell me. You do not look good in gray. How long are you going to wear your hair like that? I'm the same, actually. When I married my husband, Doug, Peter, my stepdad pulled him aside and said, you need to know something. These women have no mercy. The attempt to keep me humble worked out pretty well, and I believe in that. And it actually dovetails with what I call, and have called publicly for many years, my Albany Law School theory of life. See, when I was here, one of my professors, Ken Malilly, who taught us criminal procedure and was the coach of the trial team, sat us down and said to us as first-year law students, look, for those of you who are in the bottom of the class, you're beating yourself up because your grades aren't very good, and you're worried about failing out, don't do that. You're still in law school, which thousands of people in the country would like to be and haven't been able to manage to achieve. And if you're at the top of the class, and you're way above everybody and you're headed for law school and you're feeling kind of high and mighty and really good about yourself, you're still at Albany. There's always a perspective setter. I have that now even in my own life, right? So now I'm on TV, I've got a really high-rated show, I'm feeling like a hot shot. I go out to lunch or to dinner one night with Susan Lucci, right? Of all my children, she and I are friends, with our husbands are friends. We go to the ladies' room together, as women tend to do. There's a woman in the ladies' room. Oh my God, Susan Lucci, I love you. Oh, you're the best, you're the best. I've watched you for 30 years. Erica Kane, you're awesome. Oh, yeah. And she looks at me. I know who you are, too. Never lose that. Sometimes God has a way of providing backup to you. Now, my mom knows this, and since she's on the Radical Honesty program, she doesn't stay quiet about much. When her mom, my Nana, who's still with us, she's now 99, she's now 100, but when she turned 99, my mom brought her to the doctor. How's she doing, Doc? She said. She's great, Mrs. Kelly. Said, I just had a patient leave here. He's 104. She's going to outlive him. My mom said, oh, Jesus, please tell me you're not that good a doctor. Nana loves that story. So my mom is funny, and she taught me to use humor, too. Like that time I had the former governor of Arkansas on my show, and I introduced him as Mike Fuckabee. Okay, that wasn't exactly intentional, but sometimes you just gotta roll with it. Is this streaming live? But my mother is also resilient. She is resilient, and so are you. So are you. There's no way you'd be sitting here today if you were not. When I was 15, my father died suddenly of a heart attack, 10 days before Christmas. The tree was up, and as I went to bed upstairs, I saw him sitting in front of the twinkling lights alone. Not a day goes by, especially this past year, that I don't think of him and lament my inability to ask for his advice. He and my mother were deeply in love. My mom was so sad, but she was so brave at the same time. We didn't have a lot of money back then for her to take any time off, and she went back to work right away, probably sooner than she should have, at that VA across from you guys. One day she had a contentious exchange with a group of doctors at a table in a conference room, and she burst out into tears. While crying, she managed to choke out, "These tears are not about you. They are about my husband. But don't let the tears dilute the content of my message." Isn't that a great line? Remember that line. As the years have gone on, I've come to realize the truth of what my mother modeled for me with that story. It's okay to feel sad, to feel overwhelmed, and you will at times in your chosen profession. And it is okay, as long as you don't let your emotions dilute the content of your message. The true test of strength is not avoiding upset, it's feeling emotional distress and functioning in the face of it. The stiffer the wind, the more you lean into it. Head down, shoulders back, forge forward. That's what I tell the people on my team. Sometimes I feel like my mother's and her generation's grit is slipping away in this country. I worry about us. We're becoming what I've dubbed a cupcake nation on the Kelly File. And I'm not talking about my 2-year-old son, Thatcher, who is so adorable I call him my little cupcake. He's just walking sweetness. I'm talking about how we've gone sort of soft these days, how young people are constantly clamoring for the safe spaces where they're not going to be triggered, which drives me nuts. Not long ago, law students, all right now, law students at Columbia University refused to take their exams because they were so upset about the perceived injustice happening in Ferguson, Missouri. Law students, unable to function in the face of a perceived injustice. Hello? Do they understand what happens when you become a lawyer? That's what we get paid to do. You got to fight through it. I've said on the air before, you should never hire a lawyer who graduated from Columbia University. Go for Albany grads. They're resilient. They have grit. So we've got to toughen up. These days, adversity is undervalued. I know a thing or two about this. I'm here to tell you that adversity is an opportunity, and you should not be afraid to encounter it. You should welcome it. As you leave this place, be bold. Go out and take some risks. Make decisions, even bad ones. Fail. Encounter people who have different viewpoints from your own, even offensive ones. Listen to them and file it away up here. And then one day, when you get slammed by a senior partner or an adversary or a judge or a billionaire presidential frontrunner, you'll be able to get up, go to work, and do your job. It's like working out. Every time you do it, your muscles break down a little. The tiny fibers tear a bit, and then they get stronger and more defined. And the next time it happens, you can take more weight. When I first moved to New York as a young lawyer, I was homesick and I was lonely. I called my mom 3 nights in a row crying. The first 2, she offered comfort and advice about how to make my new home more comfortable and more homey. But on the 3rd call, she said to me, "Megan, stop playing the victim. Not attractive." And you know what? That helped me at least as much as the soothing words of comfort had. From that day on, I would feel myself starting to slip into self-pity, and I would think, not attractive. And I would rally and find my resilience. Tough talk can be a great gift. Finally, a word on happiness, which I do not wish for all of you. Happiness these days seems to now imply the absence of upset, which, as you've now heard, I not only feel is unrealistic, but I actually believe may be bad for you. You need a little upset. I want more for you than happiness. I have 3 children. Right now they're 6, 5, and 2.5. This keeps my husband and me very busy. But I have to say it's a million times easier than when they were 3, 2, and newborn. I mean, those days I'd be slipping into the car going to work saying, "Time to go to that spa they call the office." It's like getting into a warm bath. As a mother now, though, I find myself applying the lessons I learned from my mom daily. Linda is an observant Catholic, hence the tattoo she got when she turned 70 on her foot of a rosary. Because that's what everyone's 70-year-old mother does, they get a tattoo. So she raised us Catholic, and my husband and I are also raising our kids Catholic. We have them say grace before dinner, say their prayers. And my little man Thatcher, my 2-year-old, he makes it all worthwhile. Amen, he says, with verve straight out of a Mississippi Baptist service. And those are the little joys I live for. I live for, literally. They are literally the reason I believe I am here on this earth. These days I'm fairly quick to cry over my children. Their happiness, their emotional pain, their accomplishment, their growing up. Like when I see my 6-year-old son, Yates, singing in the church choir, looking like a young man. I well up at the moments that mark the passage of time. Even this one right now. It seems like just yesterday. I was out there where you are. My daughter Yardley, who's 5, lived for this little monkey she had for the first 4 years of her life, and she sucked her thumb whenever she held Monkey. When she turned 4, we asked her to consider stopping with the thumb, and that meant giving up Monkey. "Let me think it over," she said. One night I was tucking her in, and she looked up at me with those big, beautiful eyes, and she handed me Monkey, and she said, "I don't need him anymore." All I could think was, no, forget it, you do need him. You're not a big girl. You can suck your thumb till you're 40, I don't care. These are the moments I know that I will remember when I'm old and gray and getting a tattoo of my own. You know, my dad used to sing us John Denver tunes when we were little and hanging out around the campfire. He'd play his guitar and we would dance and we would sing too. His favorite then and mine now is a song called Today. I am no Lindsay, but I will sing you a little verse. It goes like this. Today, while the blossoms still cling to the vine, I'll taste your strawberries, I'll drink your sweet wine. 1,000,000 tomorrows shall all pass away, ere I forget all the joy that is mine today. I sing this to my kids all the time because I want to remind myself and them and you to appreciate the here and now. One time Yardley caught me tearing up at the sight of my 3 kids just laughing and playing together. And she said, "Why are you crying, Mama?" I said, "They're tears of joy, honey." And now whenever she sees me cry, she asks, "Are those joy of tears?" I love that, joy of tears. Because that's true too, right? The song goes on. I can't be contented with yesterday's glory. I can't live on promises, winter to spring. Today is my moment, now is my story. I'll laugh and I'll cry and I'll sing. That's the key. That's the key right there. Laughter in the fleeting moments that seem meaningless but lighten our mood and make us feel alive. Eyes welling up from the joy of tears. And the songs you write in your days, at work with your colleagues, at home with your family, and in the quiet moments by yourself, in the quest to make your life sing. That kind of life, that to me is the goal. A better goal than happiness. It's wholeness. Recently, my husband Doug and I had a particularly great day with our kids. The kind that makes you feel like you just want to stop time and live that day over and over and over again. It's too bad Thatcher isn't old enough to remember this day, Doug said to me after we put the kids in bed that night. It's all ingredients into the cake, I told him. My little boy might not remember the details of what we did, how sweetly his older brother and sister played with him, or how we laughed and held each other. But all that warmth and love is going somewhere. Those experiences are making him the child and the man he'll be. A man who is empathetic and kind, who is not only strong but protects the weak. A man who might one day finish school and dedicate himself to helping others who find themselves in trouble, just as all of you are doing. So I hope for all of you that you do not pursue mere happiness, but that you seek and find and feel the far richer gift of wholeness. That you too see adversity as an opportunity to grow. Today is your moment. Now is your story. May you laugh, cry, and sing. Congratulations. Give them hell.